Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. This is Sooklal, and I'm not alone today. I'm joined by my friend, my buddy, old pal from the Bola Bola show, Sivan John. How are you today?
Hey, Andre, I'm doing very fine. Thanks for having me back on Extra Time TV. It's been a long time, but it's good to be back.
Yes. So, folks, if you want to check out the Bola Bola show, I'll put some links in the description below. Those guys are always in some deep intellectual conversations and also some very interesting interviews from a different perspective from all over the planet. So check that out. So we're going to head into the topics directly, Sivan. Argentina, the country that we both love, will be playing Bolivia in La Paz in Game 2 of the South American qualifiers. Argentina got a 1-0 victory over Ecuador. Some people were happy, some people were not. We'll speak about that in a little while, but they got the 3 points. As Leo Messi said, getting the 3 points. Actually, Scaloni said this, getting the 3 points is the most important thing. Messi said starting off with a win is very important. You and I know this because we have been looking at Argentina all our lives. South American qualifiers are not easy. Argentina is in a transition phase. They're heading to La Paz. So Bolivia is always difficult, as we've always known. High altitude. What are your initial thoughts on this upcoming game? What do you think Argentina needs to do to try to get a result in such difficult conditions?
Well, they definitely have to improve leaps and bounds from what we've seen against Ecuador. That's for sure. Playing in the altitude, as you just mentioned, against Bolivia, it's no easy game. I mean, let's not forget what happened in 2009 when Argentina went there.
Oh dear.
And Maradona actually had this idea of putting the team into high pressing mode right from the get-go, because he felt that Argentina, with the superior of technical players, we were superior technical-wise against Bolivia, but we just didn't have the stamina or the physical requirement that requires us to play 90 minutes of high-pressing football in the altitude, and it really backfired us big time because that's one of the losses that I still find it hard to explain to a lot of haters, because they keep coming back on what happened in La Paz, the 6-1 loss and all that. So yeah, definitely, they have to improve a lot from what we've seen against Ecuador. I just can't see if Scaloni sticks with the same idea, with the same game plan, it's really going to work, because Bolivia may have lost against Brazil 5-0. But when they play in La Paz, it's a different ball game altogether. They can turn things around easily.
Yep, many teams, as we've known, it's very, very, very difficult to get a result. A draw is almost like a victory when you play Bolivia at home. And a lot of people are looking at that Brazil game, and I had to let people know, as you said, even the 6-1 loss when Maradona was in charge is something that people who don't follow South American qualifiers don't understand, just like with Bolivia and also Ecuador away from home, but definitely more Bolivia, where the breathing. I remember when Marcelo Bielsa took a very strong Argentina team and we managed to get a 3-3 draw, I think, somehow.
Yeah. I remember that game.
An amazing game, I really thought we were down and out, and that approach, many coaches have tried different approaches, and the one I think worked the best was when Peckerman was in charge and he had 2 teams. It seemed that it was a pretty crazy idea at the time, but he had 2 teams, and the second team was I won't call them second string players, but they were specifically picked to play that game, and the gamble paid off. Sabella, I think he got a 1-1 draw, if I remember correctly, with Banega scoring. And Scaloni is an inexperienced coach. He's learning. He's not perfect. I think you and I could definitely agree on that. And from the Copa America until now, he's made mistakes, but I also noticed that he does try to remedy things. It seems as if he's trying to build from the back with his new Argentina team. It's very much way off from the Argentina that we know and love. But, heading into this game, it's obviously very different. The first game against Ecuador, people were accusing Argentina of being a bit bland, not penetrating enough. The front three of Messi, Lautaro and Ocampos weren't really linking as people would like. How do you think, tactically he should approach this game, formation-wise?
Well, I think, the build-up, I think he should just maintain that. I mean, he could still maintain the build-up. I think he would. I have to say this, it may not be the most Argentinian thing to do, but I think it'll be best if he would allow the players to soak up the pressure against Bolivia, try to contain them as much as possible. not necessarily go for the draw, but on the counter, I think Argentina can still hurt and attack Bolivia if they get things right. If they have that one moment where they get things right, I believe they can still hurt Bolivia. But if we are going to take the game to Bolivia, it could be catastrophical because that's where I think Bolivia can really hurt us. So we really have to be conservative on our approach against them. In La Paz, I don't see any other way besides being defensive and conservative.
And so that definitely is a very feasible option. I would do the same thing because, as you rightfully said, there's a couple factors in play. Argentina hasn't played football together. The players haven't. They've been playing club football, but the national team hasn't played together. And the national team is a completely different setup. These guys only see each other for a couple days, and to have that collective fitness to high pressure teams, if it's not done correctly, even in normal settings, not in Bolivia, it can be a disaster. So I think Scaloni may have to go for the conservative approach. I've been reading rumors that he may go with a 4-4-2. He said that he likes to always have two attackers in the attacking field when he's attacking. I think that the 4-4-2 is probably a safe option. I would even go 4-5-1, but that's me. I'm not the coach. I know even Sabella a couple times did the three at the back with the two wing backs, basically five at the back. So we have the characteristics, and when I say we, I mean Argentina, because I'm speaking as an Argentinian fan. I think they have the characteristics where they can soak up the pressure and then unleash Ocampos, Martinez and Messi, and then Salvio could be a pretty interesting option. We'll see how it goes. But I know there's a couple injury concerns. Acuna is in doubt, and Dybala is definitely out. So what do you think about those guys being out?
I think it's pretty obvious that as you mentioned, Eduardo Salvio will be starting the game in a traditional 4-4-2. Marcos Acuna, I don't think I think since he's not fully fit, will be relegated to the bench. I think that will be a very good option from Scaloni to start off this game. I think a 4-4-2 will be probably the most, I would say, reasonable formation to go in this game. My pretty concern is the fact that at the middle we're still lacking in the middle, because in the game against Ecuador, I hardly could see Leandro Paredes stamping his mark on that game. I didn't see much effort from him. I didn't see that he was, making a difference there. He was almost like running around in the middle going in circles all the time. So my main concern is whether or not if he is the right player to start in this game all by himself in the middle. There are some calling for, what's his name, Guido, to be a partner with him in the middle, which I think is not a bad option if you ask me. So yeah, I would say these are the changes that I would say is best suited for this game, in my opinion. And of course, Juan Foyt, I believe it's also a good call to start him in right back instead of Gonzalo Montiel. I believe that he would be more a conservative player at the right back position compared to the more attacking Gonzalo Montiel.
Yeah, because you read my mind with the next question. In terms of midfield possession and controlling the game, Leandro Paredes, it seems as if he's relegated sort of a Mascherano type role. But I always thought that, while he's a great player, I always liked him further up the pitch. Sure, he's a good tackler and he puts in the work. But, I'm not convinced that he's the guy for that position, as you're saying. And, the fluidity that we usually associate with Argentinian football isn't there. And I think that's a puzzle Scaloni's going to have to solve, because, obviously in this particular game, you're not going to get beautiful vintage Argentinian football because of the conditions. That's a given. But the midfield combination of Guido Rodriguez would make sense, because they need a guy that has that stamina and those characteristics for ball winning and in tough situations like that. This is where I had this discussion with many other Argentinian fans about how we've never really replaced Mascherano as well, because he was such a massive player for us, and what he did. People speak about Messi all the time, but what he did for Argentina and the balance he kept. Oftentimes, even for Barcelona, I would even say masked a lot of deficiencies for a long time, and it is a concern, heading into this game, how they're going to handle the midfield with fatigue and the altitude and the oxygen levels. They're going to need guys who have a lot of lungs. De Paul is a guy I like a lot, but I haven't yet seen, while I've seen improvements with Argentina, I haven't yet seen really much improvements with the fluidity as yet. I think it's little individual moments of brilliance rather than really fluid attacking Argentine football. So what do you think would be a good midfield combination to use in this game?
Well, I would definitely put Savio probably on the flanks alongside with DePaul. If Paredes is still going to maintain in the middle, I would definitely like to see someone like Nicolas Dominguez or Ezequiel Palacios being partnered with him in the central midfield to give it a more attacking dimension in the middle. So that will be my preferred four midfielders to start the game.
Yep, and a lot of people have been speaking about the absence of Di Maria. There's a lot of division. A lot of people are mad that he's not there. A lot of people are saying, good riddance. He served his time. What are your thoughts on Di Maria not being included in the squad for these games?
Well, the thing is about Di Maria, despite of everything he's achieved at club level, but for Argentina, he has never really turned up 100%. There's always some injury, one thing to another, that I don't see it's going to happen anytime. I will always foresee it's going to happen again with Argentina. As much as as much as I like to see him being given a chance, but I think we need to end that cycle now and forever. I think it's about time that Scaloni brings in the new fresh, puts in some fresh names into the squad, and start building up a team for the future. I mean, how long can we depend on Di Maria? He's not. I mean, although he's just 30, 31, but how long can we depend on him? So for me, I think it's time. I think his time in the national team is pretty much over. Let's just leave it that way.
Yeah. I agree. I think that the time for transition is definitely should have been done a long time ago. I think Martino was trying somewhat, but he still kind of went back to some of the traditional players like Lavezzi and those guys that perhaps played one Copa America too much, even though they played well. The short-term thinking I think has hurt Argentina in a lot of ways. And Scaloni, to his credit, I think with this team, you can see he has plans. He's trying things out, and just like Sabella in when he first came in, there was a lot of players that he brought in that didn't make it to the World Cup squad, but you can see he was trying to groom players into the national team that were normally overlooked. Like even guys like Di Maria at the time, I think he performed his best under Sabella, but. Yep. We're in a new era now, and speaking about the new era, what do you think about this current squad? I know we spoke about the midfield, but from the Copa America until now, do you think this is the squad for Argentina in the future?
Well, to be honest, I haven't seen Argentina playing with a lot of conviction as much as I used to remember watching them play back in the days, as you mentioned, even when Sabella was managing them, even when Tata Martino was in charge. You could see Argentina playing. A style that we're so used to watching them dominating the games, winning convincingly. That hasn't happened in a long time, and I don't know whether is it because of the current generation of football players that we have, or is it because that there is still something lacking on Scaloni's part, whether he is the best manager for the job, whether he's the best guy to manage, to handle this transition period that Argentina requires so badly. Bear in mind, Messi's time is also, not coming to an end soon. Probably 2022 could be his last time with the national team. There could be pressure on him as well, to have to win something before that. There's a lot of mixing stuff going on around here. Honestly, I believe that whatever they're doing right now is the right approach, but whether is it that the amount of time that it's taking for us to see Argentina playing like how you and I used to watch them playing, whether is that going to come sooner or later, that's the question.
Yep, it's interesting. And then with this coronavirus pandemic, it has affected sport. So at least at club level, the guys train every day. But with national teams, it was a challenge before, and it's probably going to be equally challenging now. These guys haven't seen each other. They haven't played together in a long time. There's not really much time for them to really gel. So time will tell. I mean, I'm hoping that these players rise, because I remember players like Rojo, who was pretty good for Argentina at the 2014 World Cup, was highly criticized in the qualifiers by a lot of people. and he came good when it was time. And then, well, eventually, like all players, his time passed. Probably stayed a little bit too long. But I guess time will tell, as you said. So, speaking about players and so on, usually everybody speaks about Messi when you speak about Argentina. It goes without saying for the key players. Who do you think will be the key players to really get a good result for Argentina in this particular game?
Well, I think the key players are definitely going to be the midfielders. As much as we want to expect Messi to make a difference all the time when he plays for Argentina, I don't think he can do much against Bolivia in La Paz. I'm not saying that he's not capable of doing, but he needs the support from the midfielders. I think he needs the support from everyone around him to really, help to get something out of this game. So I really would like to see, a little bit more effort from the midfielders especially. So I hope with the injection of the likes of Palacios in the middle, maybe we could see Argentina putting a little bit more attack, rather than depending on Messi to make a difference.
Yep, and also, from Bolivia's standpoint, they've always, as I've said this at the beginning of the video, at home, I mean, they have the environmental advantage, but how do you think tactically they will approach this game? Do you think they will have a go at Argentina, or will they stifle things in the midfield and defense?
Well, I really haven't been following much about Bolivia, so I really can't comment much about tactics or the names or whatever. But, if they were watching the game against Ecuador, they should be telling themselves, we have a chance against these guys. We can do this. We definitely have a chance. When you have players like Nicolas Otamendi in a centre-back for Argentina, mind you, they say he's the best that we have right now. But, let's face it, he's no Ayala, he's no Walter Samuel. He's never going to be in that class, no matter how good he is. I would say, they might take their chances against Argentina. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, because a lot of people have been doing the EXTV poll, which you guys and gals could check out. It'll be on Twitter and our Facebook page. You can let us know what you think, because there's a lot of Argentina fans and Messi fans in our groups. So let us know what you think about the result, how it's going to go. Because believe it or not, Sivan, even though we know that the Bolivia game is difficult, there's still lots of fans that don't understand how difficult South American qualifiers are. And that a victory is far from assured when you play teams like Bolivia. In fact, any team. So, if you had to give a final prediction on how do you think this game would go realistically, how do you think it would go?
Realistically, I think the best result we can take is a 1-1 draw. That's just me. As much as I want us to win this game, but I think realistically a 1-1 draw will be just fine.
Yep. I agree. As a fan, obviously, I would always want to win, but as someone who's analyzing the game, I think realistically a 0-0 or even a 1-1, just like it was with when Sevilla played, would be. I think if they gave them a 1-1 draw now, they would take it. I think they would happily take that draw. I mean, obviously a win is okay, but many teams go to Bolivia, and many teams just don't come back with the 3 points. So, folks, you can let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know if you agree, disagree. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts. Check us out on extvmedia.com. Also, Sivan John, you can tell us where we can find you and your show.
Well, just before we end the show, I think there's one particular name that we still have not talked about in in the show right now.
Of course.
And that's Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah.
Honestly, against Ecuador, I was really disappointed because, but then again, I can't blame him. He was barely getting the ball. He was barely getting anything, a good quality supply to him in order for him to make a difference. So I just hope that, this game against Bolivia, he could do something. Hopefully. Yeah.
Speaking about Lautaro, his performances for Inter Milan, has brought the attention of Barcelona and so on, and the Argentinian attack has always been their appeal. Argentina has always had amazing attacking players. That's the one thing that they still have. What do you think about not just Lautaro Martinez but Alario as well? What do you think about him for Argentina?
Well, I think bringing him from in the game against Ecuador was sort of a breath of fresh air, but I'm not too sure whether is he going to be one of those players that can really make a difference for Argentina at the moment. I mean, he has quality, he has talent, there's no doubt about it. But again, is he the right fit, the right choice that we want right now? That's a question. Yeah,
and then also, we Sergio Aguero, obviously he's not there, but a lot of people are saying that he is still the undisputed number 9. Do you think that's the case, or do you think Lautaro Martinez is the guy to take that spot now?
Well, for now, I still think that Sergio Aguero will make a much better number 9 for Argentina alongside Messi. Just for now, but that is. But I would like to see Martinez giving Aguero a run for that number 9 shirt. He has what it takes to do it, but he needs to do it. He needs to show us a lot more than just being, just turning up and just occupying a spot in the national team.
Yeah, I think having some people challenge him is obviously a very good thing. So are there any particular players that you think that should have been on the squad that was not included?
Well, I have to say I'm kind of disappointed on the goalkeeping part. Although I must say that Armani was, he did his job. I'm not going to dispute that, but I kind of wish that Walter Benitez was given one of the 3 spots for the goalkeeper, because he has been one of the best goalkeepers for us in Europe. And why he shouldn't have a chance or deserve a chance to play for Argentina.
Yeah, because it seems as if with the Argentinian national team, we always seem to get it mostly wrong with the choices of goalkeepers. Like, for example, or we either call them too early or too late. Sergio Romero is probably the last consistent goalkeeper. I know a lot of people had some issues with him, but I think the continuity we had with Sergio Romero was pretty good. I actually had doubts about him from time to time, but he proved me wrong on several occasions. And I actually liked Caballero back in the 2014 era, and I think a lot of fans did. And then when they finally decided to put him in, he was already out of form. He wasn't even a starter at Chelsea when he was there. And it seems as if with our goalkeepers, we always make a mess of things. Like there was like Carrito years ago I really liked, and he just sort of stagnated and disappeared and never really did anything. Andrada, is a pretty decent guy, but Benitez is a guy that I think should be given a look in, as well as Martinez. But I'm guessing Scaloni is sticking with his number 1, which is Armani, which goalkeeping is a very complicated position. I've worked around some teams where it's easy to say, well, let's swap the keepers out. But that communication that builds up is very difficult to build and very easy to break up. So I can maybe understand the thought process with Scaloni, but I would have liked to see Benitez at some point, at least maybe in friendlies, get a little more, of a chance. But it seems to be an Achilles heel with Argentina and choosing their keepers. But I'm guessing he's sticking with Armani, who was another keeper I had some doubts about, especially at the last Copa America, but he seemed to really grow as the tournament went along. I remember that penalty he saved against, I can't remember who it was right now. I think it was the second game of the Copa America, and if he did not save that, we were out, and he looked very confident after that. Even when we played Brazil, I was like, okay, he was coming out, getting the balls and so on. And that's another area where a lot of people don't speak about. In Bolivia, the hang time of the ball is affected greatly. I heard Veron and other guys complaining about that, where even the judgment of the movement of the ball in the air is quite difficult. So do you think Armani is up to that task?
Yeah, sure. I would say Armani is up to that task. Remember, Armani's played his entire football career in South America, so he knows what to expect when you go to places like La Paz. I have no doubts that he's still the best safe hands we have right now in number 1 position. But in time to come, we might need to look at Walter Benitez as a viable option. But for now, Armani is good as for me.
All right, so we'll end things off with the final the lineups. Who do you think Argentina is going to start with?
Well, I'm probably going to go. I probably think it's going to be a 4-4-2. Probably Foyt on the right, Tagliafico on the left. Obviously with Martinez, and most likely, as much as I don't like it, Otamendi is going to be in the centre back position. And I think in the midfield, Paredes and probably Palacios in the middle, with probably Salvio on the left, on the right maybe. Rodrigo De Paul will still maintain his place there. And with Messi and Martinez up front.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the Argentina team is pretty straightforward right now, at least. I don't think there's going to be too much complications. Maybe Rodriguez may come in at some point, but I pretty much agree with everything you're saying. I can't see them playing any other formation. Anything other than maybe a 4-4-2, a flat 4-4-2, maybe a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, which I don't see happening. That's something Sabella would do, but I can't. That doesn't seem like Scaloni style. I think that's what he's going to go with. So I agree.
Yeah.
So, folks,
It's much better. It's much. I mean, it's much better to pack the midfield with 4 players rather than playing in a 4-3-3 because we might have trouble that against Bolivia. That's another way to look at it.
Yeah, and like even when we played, I look back even back at the Copa America in 2011. Bolivia starting to improve away from home. So obviously they're home, so they have an advantage. But I'm seeing some progression. They're still not. They're never going to be world beaters. But they managed to get draws away from home. Even Argentina in the Copa America in 2011. Argentina struggled against them to break them down. So they definitely are a bit more organized, and they're not entirely reliant on the atmosphere like they usually are. So I think that makes them even more dangerous. And this will be quite a difficult game. It's not a foregone conclusion. And this will definitely set the tone for the qualifiers and test Scaloni's tactical acumen to see how,
Yep.
To me, this is a real test and one of his first real tests, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to start on a winning note against Ecuador, no doubt about it. As much as, I didn't like the game, it was really terrible. It was really tormenting to watch the entire 90 minutes, especially after when we scored the penalty. But it's good to start on a winning point. That's a positive side to look at it. But, we need to improve from there. If we were to keep this going on, we could be in serious trouble. Because as you mentioned, South American World Cup qualifier, it's a different ball game. To me, it's still the best World Cup qualifier zone ever. Compared to every other federation, South America is still the best.
Yes, it's my favorite as well. It's very entertaining, very aggressive, and also beautiful at the same time. And there's a reason why both of us love not just Argentina, but South American football in general. And, for those of you who want to take, some interest in it, you will not regret it. Check it out. So, Sivan, what we'll do is, after the game, folks, we'll be doing a reaction to both games because, as you all, it's not a secret at all. Sivan and I are massive Argentina fans. So, we will analyze, dissect, and pinpoint every single issue we can. And we'll have full-length episodes, where we sit down and discuss. Where we'll have the full-length audio version in the link below as well. So you all can fully immerse yourselves. It's not going to be a short thing. It's going to be a fully immersive conversation. So you guys can join in as well. We may even do it live, so you guys could chat along with us. So we'll see how that goes. So once again, be sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and keep the comments coming. We really like that. And we'll see how the game goes. So Sivan, tell us where the fans can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter, which is basically just look for me, Sivan John, SIVANJOHN. I'm also on Instagram as well. Or you can check out my podcast, which is the Bola Bola Show. I'm sure, Andre, you can probably share them a link as well on that, to give them, an idea what we're all about.
Yes, the Bola Bola Show, folks. Be sure to check it out, and be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we react to the Argentina game, and hopefully we win. So, Sivan, thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.